Nebraska has a big time game on their hands this week versus the USC Trojans. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a complete preview of that matchup. What does USC bring to the table? What does Nebraska need to do in order to win? And everything else you need to know. So really quick, we have a lot to talk about in today's video. Hey, if you're fired up about Saturday, I know I am, hit that like button. And hey, if you're new to the channel or a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. I post Nebraska football content every single day through thick or thin. So if you're a diehard fan, make sure to subscribe. You will be thanking yourself that you did. But without further ado, let's get into it. Previewing this matchup, Nebraska taking on USC at the Coliseum, 3 o'clock Central. It's going to be a big time game for two teams that are struggling as of recent. Starting off with USC, their head coach is Lincoln Riley, a familiar name to all college football fans, of course, previously with Oklahoma. He's in his third year with the Trojans, but this has been by far his worst year of his head coaching tenure. They're off to a 4-5 start, and when you talk to a lot of USC fans, they want him fired. He's on the hot seat, so safe to say USC needs this win just as much as Nebraska does. So let's start it off with their offense. We know this is Lincoln Riley's forte, the offense side of the football. Let's see what they have there. Well, at quarterback, their head man is Miller Moss. This is a guy who's threw for 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions this year. You know, Miller Moss is a pretty darn good quarterback, good accuracy, high ceiling. He's a guy I could see playing on Sundays. He's a veteran, but at the exact same time, he struggled recently with his interceptions in his last game versus Washington. He threw 3 in one game. So really, he struggles against the pressure. He struggles when they're down. Sometimes he forces some balls in there that he really shouldn't throw. But other than that, again, I really like his arm strength. I think he's a high quality quarterback. But really, this USC team has not been good recently, and Miller Moss has started to struggle as the year progresses. Talking about their running back room, their main man is Woody Marks. This guy's one of the best running backs in the country. I'd say he's top 15 in all of Power 5 football. So far this year, he has 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaging 6 yards per carry. And when you watch him on film, he's just a very patient running back. He can do just about everything. Very quick feet. He can be elusive. He can put his head down. He can also catch passes. He also has 260 receiving yards on the year. So Woody Marks, really good running back for USC. Something that we're going to have to remember. They really don't have a stable. This is going to be their guy. He's going to get the majority of carries in this ball game. Talking about their receivers, they have a stable of receivers. So they have a good quarterback, good running back, good wide receiver core. They have Mekhi Lemon, who's really speedy, 400 yards this year, 3 touchdowns. They have Zachariah Branch, who's a former 5-star athlete. Again, super speedy, has 400 yards as well. And then they have Jacoby Lane, who's their red zone threat, 5 touchdowns on the year. He's 6'5". But overall, again, pretty good receiver core. Absolutely nothing that we haven't seen, though, in the past. Last but not least, talking about their offensive line. Another good offensive line here. They're actually top 20 in the pass protection department. They only give up 1.1 sacks a game, and then they graded out as top 30 in the run game as well. So, you know, pretty much everything on their offense is good stat-wise. Why are they 4-5? Well, we'll get to that, but it's mostly because of their defense. But in general, they average about 30 points per game on offense. At the end of the day, Nebraska needs to get in the end zone because USC is going to put up points. That's for sure. Let's talk about their defense because this has always been the struggling point with a Lincoln Riley coached football team. Talking about their D-line first, it's okay, nothing to write home about. They're led by Braylon Shelby and Gavin Meyer, 2 veteran guys on that D-line, but those guys really don't move the needle. They're middle of the pack in rushing yards given up in the country. They just can't get sacks, though. They're good at stopping the run. At least they're decent. They can't get to the quarterback. They only average 1.3 sacks a game, one of the worst in all of Power 5. So this defensive line, watch out for that. Rhule has really been under fire the last couple weeks. He should have a clean pocket for this USC game. Linebacker core for the Trojans is all right. They have a couple of guys I want you to remember. Easton Arnold, 6 foot tall, 230 with 73 tackles on the year. He's not incredibly impressive, just a good Big Ten linebacker who gets tackles. They also have Mason Cobb with 52 tackles as well. Last but not least, talking about their defensive backs. It's a pretty bad defensive back room for USC. There's a lot of talent there, a lot of 4-star and 5-star guys, but they give up 240 passing yards a game. That's bottom of Power 5. They only have one interception on the year between their corners and safeties. They just can't take the ball away as a unit. They can't get sacks. They can't get interceptions. They can't get fumble recoveries. It's a very, very interesting defense for USC. Actually, they only give up 22 points per game, which is 33rd in America. So that's not bad. But in pretty much every other statistical category on defense, they're in the bottom percentage. So in general, this is a pretty good USC offense, very talented. But honestly, they should have won a little bit more football games just given how good their offense is and how decent their defense is. But the reason why they do lose football games is because of their head coach Lincoln Riley. A lot of these, they get in a lot of close ball games similar to Nebraska, and when they get to the fourth quarter, make some questionable in-game decisions. Every single one of their losses, they've lost 5 games. Every single one of their losses has been a one-score ball game. Nebraska fans, we can resonate with that a little bit. So that's why USC fans want Lincoln Riley fired, because a lot of questionable in-game decisions have led to their losses. So we have to watch out for that. They get in close games, they lose close games. We also get in close games, and we also lose them. So odds are it'll be another close game on Saturday. All right, guys, I'm not going to give you my predictions until Friday as usual, but I'm going to give you my keys to the game for Nebraska. How do the Cornhuskers get it done versus the Trojans? Number 1, you got to put up points. That's a non-negotiable. It's going to be a high-scoring game. You can only slow down this USC passing attack. You can only slow down Miller Moss. So you got to make your impact on offense. Hopefully a guy like Dana Holgorsen, who was added to this coaching staff, can really show why he was a worthy addition. So you got to put up points. Number 2, pass rush has got to get to Miller Moss. He's a good quarterback, but he struggles under duress. He struggles when the pocket breaks down. If you can get to him a couple times, force him to throw some bad passes, maybe force him to throw an interception, you're going to be in for a good ball game. Number 3, Matt Rhule needs to coach with nothing to lose. I think a lot of times Matt Rhule has coached pretty conservative, where he's playing so he doesn't lose, not to win. He needs to play. He needs to coach to win. He needs to coach that he has nothing to lose. And we just haven't seen that the last couple weeks. So he needs to be risky. He needs to go for it on 4th downs. I think a lot of times, if you're in field goal range, maybe it's a 3rd down or a 4th down and 3. Hey, go for it. Why not? You got to be risky in this ball game. He's just been way too conservative. Number 4, when you do have an opportunity to kick a field goal, you got to make it. Again, this is a high-score ball game. Every single point is going to matter. Last but not least, number 5, you got to execute in the 4th quarter. Odds are it's going to be a close ball game. Odds are it will be a one-score game in the 4th quarter. You've got to execute. Again, USC loses close ball games. Nebraska loses close ball games. One of those streaks is going to end on Saturday. Who's going to come on top in a one-score game? We will see. Hopefully it's Nebraska. But again, USC wants this one bad. They're playing at home. You just got to find a way to win if you're the Huskers. All right, guys. Big time game. Nebraska needs this victory. This is the most probable victory of the final 3 for the Huskers. You got to win. I hope they do. Again, I'm going to save my predictions until Friday. But let me know down below your thoughts about this matchup versus USC. Do you think the Huskers get it done? Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.